Mercedes-AMG Interview Lounge.
So I'm so excited to introduce you to Han Solo. Alden Ehrenreich, please step forward. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Come on
Hi.
in here. Welcome.
Hi, thanks a lot. Played
Seriously,
the music as I walked in.
Yeah, we got music. We got everything. You get that phone call.
Yes.
And I mean, I guess your agent called you. And said, I got
The directors called me at the time.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. I knew first, actually. And you're just like over the moon. You're trying to wrap your head around it, and it's kind of beyond belief. And you know, it's not just getting this role you're going to play for the summer. This whole life adventure is going to happen.
Wow.
Wow. Do you call Harrison Ford and say, "Hey, you got any advice for me?"
Yeah, sort of. Like we were in pre-production. There's a bunch of kind of training and stunt stuff and stuff you're doing. Then we were getting close to shooting, and we hadn't talked to him yet. And so I kind of asked if I could talk to him a little bit because it just didn't feel right to not talk to him before you do it. So originally it was going to be me and the head of the studio and the directors and him, and then everyone else was out of town, so it just ended up being me and him, which was great.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really great.
There are so many people, of course, me included, we've been just a fan of everything Star Wars since I was a kid, and I'm ancient. What year was the original Star Wars out?
77. Yeah.
Good God.
Wow.
But you know, a lot of people get confused because it's not a flowing story that's in any kind of chronological order.
Right.
So now we're going back to Han Solo's early days when he started.
Right.
When he started smuggling and.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Exactly.
And so they're saying that this film has a totally different pace.
Yeah.
And a very fun feel, right?
Yeah, I think this one's kind of like this kind of great adventure yarn. You know, it's like because it's Han Solo, it's funny and it's got this kind of tougher edge, and it all takes place in sort of the underworld of Star Wars. So like if you look at A New Hope and the cantina scene where you meet him, that was always my favorite part of the Star Wars universe, and this is sort of that underworld gangster vibe.
If you've never seen a Star Wars movie, will you get lost or you
I
will be
don't
okay?
think so. I think this one in particular of the other films, like of the new films, is the most sort of its own story in a way. You know, you're kind of, because it's also kind of a biopic of a fictional character. You're watching this guy kind of come from this hard background and try to find his way. And I think if it wasn't Star Wars, you'd still have this, it'd still be this great fun adventure story.
Okay.
I don't know. Back to that phone call you got from the directors, and they're saying, "Hey, we want you. You're our Han Solo," and you knew right then it was going to be a massive production,
right?
But that's before they brought Ron Howard in, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So when they added him to
Oh man.
Yeah.
What does that do to your nerves? I mean, is there ever a moment where you're like, I don't know, this is too much for me?
Well, I auditioned for it for about 6 months, and over the course of that audition, I went on a trip by myself, and I kind of was like, well, I need to make sure I really want to do this, because if you're deciding, of course you want to do it, of course you want to play Han Solo and it's Star Wars, but you need to make sure that you're not just doing it because everyone would think you're crazy if you didn't. So I spent some time, because you are saying yes to a lot of stuff. You know, you're saying yes to years of your life and this kind of lots of crazy stuff happening. And so, once you say yes to that, once I kind of decided that, every step of the way, it's like, well, okay, now here's a new turn and here's a new twist, and yeah.
All right, I want you to honk your own horn for a second here.
Okay.
Out of 3,000 people who auditioned for Han Solo, you were the first one, and they went with you.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
What is it about you?
I have no idea.
No, come on.
I don't know.
It's okay.
I don't know.
It's okay to say nice things about yourself. No, really. What is it about you? What's so special about you?
Yeah, right.
Who do you think you are getting this role?
Exactly.
No, really, what do you think it is?
I don't know. I know that their particular take on this character I loved from the beginning. I thought the way they wrote it and the humor of it and the fun of it felt really good to me from early on, and felt really good. You go in, you know that everyone's going to be auditioning and you don't think you're going to get it. But I knew that very early on. I was like, well, this feels fun, so I'm going to enjoy auditioning for it. And then it kept going, and I liked all the people that I was working with and got along great with them. So
Is 6 months? Because I know you said it took 6 months for them to cast you. Is that a normal process for a big movie like that?
I think so. I don't know. It probably varies, but I've been up for things for my first movie I auditioned for about 5 months, and I did a movie for Warren Beatty that was kind of 5 years of auditioning. So
wow.
Yeah.
What a job, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either this or what would you be doing if you weren't acting?
It'd be something in movies. I love film.
Are you from California originally?
Yeah, I'm from Los Angeles. It'd be something involving, writing. I mean, I'm editing a short film that I wrote and directed, so it'd be something like that. Yeah.
If you're just turning us on, Alden Ehrenreich is here. Of course, Han Solo is out this weekend. Will we be seeing Darth Vader in this film this weekend?
I can't say.
Come on!
I can't say anything like that.
You said you were going to come in here and you weren't going to give us anything.
All this. Oh yeah.
I thought I'd sneak the question in.
No, there's Disney
spoiler.
people that will, I'll disappear very quickly.
This will be the unhappiest place on earth.
That's right.
So okay. So we're trying to figure out if you're familiar with all the movies in the stories. We're trying to figure out where this one lands as far as time. So experts are saying that Solo takes place somewhere between Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Does
That's
that make
right.
sense?
That's right. Yes.
That's
correct.
Are you a big fan? Have you seen all these?
Yeah, I've seen all of them now. I was a kid. I loved it. I had all the toys, and I had a lightsaber, and I had all the action figures and stuff. I had Han Solo action figures.
You never knew you were holding yourself, did you?
No, that's right. No, someone asked me recently.
Oh,
that's right.
That's very
I didn't
creepy.
mean it like that.
No, so there's an action figure of me now, and they said, "Is it weird to play with yourself?"
I'm sure the answer is no. I mean, it's a natural thing. So, I mean, I would assume, well, you've told us anyway, the character, Han Solo character, is a funny guy. Are you funny? I mean, because you haven't made me laugh one time.
No, that's true. I know. I don't think I'm tremendously funny. I don't know. I have my moments. I'm not sure.
So, look, being a working actor is one thing. Being an actor who's in a movie that's going to be #1 this weekend is another. Is this life that you live beyond acting? It's like the star stuff, the showing up and the lights and the step and repeats. Is this a life that you don't mind? Are you into it at all?
Honestly, I see it as a part of what you do to get to do what you want.
Right.
Like it's kind of you want people to see your movie, you want to get this stuff out there, and that entails a certain amount of showing up. That stuff in and of itself is pretty wholly uninteresting to me.
Like right now.
Yeah.
Now is nice because it's nice to meet people and nice to talk to people, and it's not, yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I mean,
Yeah.
You can leave if you want. I'd rather
right.
I'd rather you stay. I'd rather
You
continue.
don't seem like the type of guy that's going to be in the tabloids for doing crazy, ridiculous things.
I hope not. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, again,
the day is young.
The day is young. That's true. I think, the thing is with this kind of, it's like with this, like working with Ron, working with the cast, Donald Glover and Emilia Clarke and Woody Harrelson and Paul Bettany and Tandy Newton, like the great joy that I've had over the last 10 years of working is getting to work with these people that are so interesting, getting to learn from them, getting to sort of be side by side on these different adventures. So that's the fun, and everything else is what you do in order to be able to sustain that.
Well, Jabba the Hutt. What about Jabba the Hutt?
Oh, I can't. Definitely can't answer that.
How about when Ron Howard came in and took over? He did reshoot some things. So can you give us a little insight of something that he reshot?
No.
Okay.
But I can say, Ron came in and it's very much. Yeah, I know. Ron came in and he's got, he's just such an enthusiastic filmmaker. He's made so many great movies. He loves Star Wars. He has a real kind of innate feel for the Star Wars universe, and he was a pleasure to work with.
Well, I would think that you, as an actor, learn so much from Ron Howard. I mean, everything he does is just he makes it seem effortless.
Totally.
But it's just brilliance.
Yeah, absolutely. And just being on set and getting to ask him different questions. He was very generous about sharing stuff.
I mean, Childish Gambino was in this film. Can we go
That's
wrong?
Right.
Yeah.
I heard that Donald, right? Glover. He's an incredible actor. They're saying that they may bring him back for another.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know he was such a great actor.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. I was handed this question. Oh, by the way, we have questions from a true Star Wars fan coming up. He's at the end of the desk.
Oh, great. Hi.
His microphone's off. His name is Greg T.
I am a bit nervous to meet you, Han.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, don't be nervous.
All right. Your two co-stars on Millennium Falcon, a Wookiee and a droid named L3.
Yes.
Is it challenging working with a droid? I mean, something other than a real live flesh and blood actor?
Well, actually, the way they shot L3 is that Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who plays it really wonderfully, is wearing a green full bodysuit.
Okay.
And then they put the droid parts on top of the bodysuit and wipe her out in post. And so she's actually there because we're playing off her and we're doing scenes with her. She's actually really there, and she was wonderful.
Also, I'm hearing that a lot of the sets, everything they were really there. You weren't dealing with green screens all the time.
Yeah, very little. Almost all the creatures and stuff are guys in suits or people operating puppets or things like that. When we fly the Millennium Falcon or any of the other ships, you're looking out the windshield and they have a screen that wraps around the ship and they project the space that you're flying through on it. So they have the asteroids or whatever it is that you're flying through. You're looking at that the whole time.
Are you moving at all?
Yeah, it's shaking and moving. I mean, it's like the kind of ultimate Disneyland sort of ride, and you do that for months.
Wow.
I must guess. I mean, with all the things you've done films for all different types of companies and directors, and you're working on your own stuff as well. Mm-hmm. But to work on a Star Wars film must be just a different level.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's real deal.
Oh yeah.
Stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they can afford all the toys.
Everything. Yeah.
How about better catered lunch? I'm sure.
Yeah, everything.
The lunch is. I mean, the lunch is designed for for whatever the stunts you're doing that day.
Oh.
It's very.
They don't want to make you gassy or anything.
Right.
No, I'm serious. I would, you jumping around on a plane. You don't want to.
You don't want to throw up.
No, you don't want.
That's right. It's a small spaces. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Alden Ehrenreich is here. Of course, Han Solo is out this weekend. And he hasn't confirmed whether or not Greedo is in this film. But we will find out.
By the way, the Millennium Falcon's really clean in this movie.
It is, yeah. It's Lando's in this movie.
Wow. Well, listen, congratulations ahead of time on a very nice weekend at the box office.
Thank you.
But that's not why you're in it. You're in it just, you don't even care if it's like an indie film that only 3 people watch.
Well, my time spent is over. Like my experience of it is really like over. And, if you attach yourself to one doing great, then you might love one that doesn't do great. And then, whatever.
Well, once you're cast in something this monumental, does the phone start ringing a little more? Are there more people saying, hey, let's talk about the possibility of...
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely a little bit.
What does it take to become a good actor? What is this? Is there a secret? Is there something you tell yourself in your mind before the camera starts rolling?
I think honestly the hardest thing about being an actor is that you have to wait for someone to give you a job. And you don't get good at something unless you do it a lot. And so I think the only key that I know is just to act as much as you can. And it's when I was coming up, there were a lot of things I didn't want to do. Because I wanted to do only kind of movies that I really wanted to do, and so I didn't work. I would have people over to my house. We'd read a play. Just finding those ways to constantly be doing the thing that you actually like to do is the kind of your, I think, hardest responsibility.
Let me make an assumption. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. When you were coming up in this business, and you in your mind had the ideal kind of movie you wanted to do, is this one that one? I don't. Something tells me that it isn't.
It's not what I would have imagined, but the real things that I always wanted. My first movie I did with Francis Ford Coppola, and it was like one of the great experiences of my life. And so and I had a great part, and it is in the sense that every time I get to work with people like Ron or the cast or have a part that's this great, I don't really care what genre it is or what world it takes place in, as long as it's something that has like a real story behind it and that I would want to go see, which this definitely is that.
Well, it sounds like, Alden, that you're so locked into the family that is formed in a production like this.
Yeah.
Is there a bit of sadness when it wraps?
Yeah.
And even though you're out doing promo tour and you see them every once in a while, it's done. I mean, is there some separation anxiety, or do you miss these people?
Yeah, well, actually, for me, doing publicity is the time they got to hang out in London a lot more than I did, because I was I was basically in every day of the shoot. So this press tour has been a great opportunity. We went to Cannes together. We were in London, and we all flew on a plane together, and it's just hanging out with all these people where you're not worried about learning what you have to do for the next day.
Right.
is really fun. That's where that's been really fun.
So when we watch Han this weekend with Solo, we're going to see an energy on the screen that was actually a fun energy because you guys really had fun doing these
absolutely, absolutely. And it's hard not to, especially because these things are so real. It's like in any scene where there's explosions going on, those explosions were really going on, and just like every Star Wars movie has its own like kind of little crew, and our crew was just great.
And I saw the trailer during the Marvel movie, and I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I came in the next day and I said I want to see this movie because it just looks like it's so much fun.
It is really fun. I think that's what's special about it. That's why I'm excited for lots of kids to see it and everything like that. It is just like really fun.
Well, Alden, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I could just pick your brain for hours over what it is, not only about the film, but you and your career. I just think it's so interesting. Now we have to go back to a boring show. I'm going to miss you. Like the energy you had on the set, we have now with you here. Right. It's about to just be sucked right out. Anyway, Alden Ehrenreich, of course, it's Han Solo in Solo, a Star Wars story, which is out this weekend. Alden, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.